Welcome to the Knit Song Podcast. My name is Audrey, and this is my podcast about knitting, yarn dyeing, crocheting, sewing, and whatever crafty endeavors I might be up to from time to time. So welcome! This is a Christmassy episode, and I'm glad that you're here with me to hang out and chat about knitting and crafty things. So welcome. If this is your first time, so glad you're tuning in. And if you're a returning viewer and subscriber, then hello again. Good to see you back. So I have lots to show and I'm excited to get started. So yes, it's been a couple weeks since we last spoke, or since I last podcasted. So I have some good stuff to show. It's been an exciting couple of weeks and lots has been going on and getting done, so that's been really cool. All of my contact information is in the description box below for where to find me and follow me. So I'm going to dive right into yarn dyeing this week. I'm going to start with that instead of finished objects because I just finished drying some things from yesterday's dye session that I'm so excited about. So I'm going to start with a new colorway that I dyed this weekend, and this is actually my first time dyeing on a 50% merino, 50% bamboo base, and this is totally different from dyeing on a larger, higher percentage of wool content, and it was just really fun. And so this is what I came up with, and this is what I got. So it has like this slightly pearlized effect because of the bamboo. It's a different fiber, and the way different dyes react or don't react to different fibers kind of gives a cool effect. So I love this. It's got a real sheen to it, which is kind of hard to see on camera, but I love it. I'm calling this one Alpine Cabin, because it has a lot of colors of if you saw a cabin in the woods at this time of year. So lots of different browns and some other fun colors, a little bit of the colors you might see if you looked out the window of a cabin, and I'm a fan of this. I'm very excited about this one. So yay! I'll be putting these in the shop today. And I'm going to have to make myself some of those to knit with because that turned out well. I used some similar colors to do something a little bit different, and this is on a 75-25 merino nylon base, and this was kind of something I did as an experiment, and it turned out really good. It has not been reskeined yet, so it's still in a funky little kind of figure 8 clump, but I still wanted to show it, and I'm going to call this Alpine Morning. So, similar colors to Alpine Cabin, and this is what I got. So, got some golds, kind of different greens and purples, different browns, some oranges and lilac golden stuff, little chartreusey goodness going on in there. Anyway, so this one was a fun one, and I really like how it came out. I can't wait to see this reskeined, to see what the colors do and how they displace themselves, but I really like it. It's very December without being super Christmassy, but I did dye some super Christmassy yarn as well. But yeah, Alpine Morning is kind of, I think, my favorite of what I've dyed recently. So anyway, this was a lot of fun. And what else? Okay, so I mentioned super Christmassy yarn, and I was really excited the other day after Thanksgiving, earlier than I usually do. I put up my tree, and I wanted to dye up some like just super Christmassy yarn. I was watching the movie White Christmas with Bing Crosby, and I love that movie so much. I've loved that movie ever since I think I was in high school and I first saw it, and just the jokes are so funny and the songs are so beautiful and the dresses are amazing. Anyway, I was watching that movie, and a lot of the Christmas stuff that I was putting up is like, you can kind of see it's very true reds, not a lot of dark maroons or anything other than just a true red and a true green. And so it made me think about home, and it made me think about my grandma and grandpa's decorations. We used to spend most of our Christmas season at my grandparents' house, and they had kind of a lot of cool plastic decorations that had been with them since the 50s or 60s, at least the 60s, maybe the 50s. And they were plastic wreaths, and the leaves were really cool because they were green, but as the plastic would like thin out, you'd get like different colors of like chartreuse or like a lime neon green as the light would like reflect through it. So my favorite decorations kind of inspired this yarn, and at Grandma and Grandpa's house, where my mom currently lives, there is a chandelier. It's a split level entrance. So you walk in and then you can either go up to the main floor or down to the secondary floor. And there's a chandelier kind of thing up above the entryway. And my grandma had 6 little plastic wreaths with mistletoe, plastic mistletoe, and cranberries that were like plastic with felt around them. And my favorite job, and it was always my job because I would beg for it, was leaning over the banister from the top floor and pulling the chandelier over and taking the light bulbs out and putting the little mistletoe wreaths on each one, and then gently letting it swing back to its place. And it just felt so cool to like move the chandelier, and it looked so beautiful once all the candles on the chandelier had those mistletoe wreaths. So the other day, my mom was putting those wreaths on, and she called me or texted me and just said, "Hey, I'm doing your favorite job. The mistletoe wreaths are going on." And it just is a good memory and something that I just loved so much. So anyway, I dyed up some yarn, and I call it Vintage Christmas because it's got mostly a cream color, but it has some different just little pops of red and green, and some of the greens are a little bit more neon, kind of like the edge of the mistletoe leaves, and some of the greens are a little deeper. And this shows fairly well, but I want to show you what this looks like knit up because that's what I'm most pleased with. And as I've ventured into dyeing yarn, it's always interesting how certain things that look pretty simple in a skein can look less simple or different once they're knit up. And so I'm going to kind of do yarn dyeing segment and works in progress right now, because this same yarn knit up looks just like this. And these are Hermione's everyday socks, and I'll show them in works in progress. But it's really interesting because in the skein it looks a little bit lighter than how it actually knits up. And even in the ball you can see how light it looks, or in the cake I mean, it looks a lot lighter than it actually shows, which is interesting. But yeah, that's Vintage Christmas, and I'm really enjoying that, and I'm knitting with some of it, and I will put some of it in the shop as well. And this is also on 75-25, and I put some little tiny dots of purple and pink and things like that in here too, because of different Christmas decorations that my grandma had that I just wanted to kind of remember. But anyway, that is Vintage Christmas. The next yarn I'm going to show is one that I've shown before, but this is on a different base. So I think it was Sammy or Samantha who helped me name the Crushed Blueberries colorway, and so I dyed up Crushed Blueberries on bulky weight. So that was really fun, and I love how it came out. And this is, I believe, I want to say 70%, this is a merino alpaca blend, so it's got some really nice texture to it. And in the shop it'll say exactly what it is because I have it all written down. But it's a great little blend, and I'm enjoying dyeing on it and playing with it, and I can't wait to knit with it. So Crushed Blueberries on bulky. I think this would make a great hat or like small cowl because the alpaca is really softer than I thought it would be. But I'm thinking a hat would be pretty stinking cool. Yeah, anyway. Crushed Blueberries. I've had a lot of fun dyeing yarn this past couple weeks. I showed this last time, but I'll show it again since I just mentioned it. Nap Time Dreams, pinks, grays, blues, things like that. But that one I've shown before. And what I'm going to show, drum roll, camera shaking, is my Christmas at Downton Abbey yarn club that I dyed. So if you are part of that club and haven't seen your yarn yet, this would be a good time to fast forward. But I'm pretty sure it was a small little club, and I'm 99% sure I've talked with everybody who was a part of it and they received their yarn. So I think I'm safe to show this. But this was my first club experience, and I have to say I was really nervous because up until now, just with my little Etsy shop, people have bought only what they've seen, and that feels good, like they've already seen it, they know they want it, I'm happy to send it, and it just feels good. And the club was exciting because we were all sharing in something that we love, but they hadn't seen the yarn, and so I was so nervous because I'm thinking, wow, like, what if they hate it? And so I dyed and re-dyed some yarn and came to a point of what I found exactly what I wanted and what I had pictured, and then dyed those up and then sent them out. And so it went well. I heard really good things, and I'm really happy with them. So I did dye up one for myself, and I'm not going to repeat it, and it was kind of a special, like, one-time clubby thing. And I did keep the ones that I felt were not my favorites. So I had one of the darker ones that had a little bit, that wasn't quite as dark as I liked, and I had one of the lighter ones that was a little too dark. So I kept those for myself, and I sent out the higher contrast. All the others were perfectly kind of like, not exactly, you know, identical, because they're never identical, but the color values were very even. And in fact, I have a great picture of them all packaged up, and I'll put that on my Instagram later today. But anyway, so I kept the ones that were just slightly off for myself. So I will show them to you now. I'm so excited. So I chose, I'll show them to you first. I chose a scene in season 2, and you can see this is the darker spot that this was not supposed to have, so most of them looked more like this, where there was a more intense red one and a lighter gray. But anyway, I will enjoy that spot. So I chose a scene in season 2, and I know the show's been out and finished for a while, so I'm going to say what scene it was. If you haven't seen the show, well, I guess I can just kind of like be more general. Anyway, it's such a good show. So what happens in season 2, at the end, there's a special conversation between two of my favorite characters that takes place after a Christmas party. Technically, I think it's a January, like New Year's party. It's the servants' ball. And outside the castle, it's snowing and it's dark outside, and two characters have a very important conversation. And so I dyed this yarn club to commemorate that scene. That was my favorite scene, probably in the show, but definitely my favorite Christmas episode that they did. And this one is inspired by Lady Mary, and I called it Ask Me Properly, which is something that she says. And this one is called Snow Light, because I wanted to capture how the light was kind of reflecting off of the snow, and it was just, you know, the sky was black and the snow was white, but there was this glow from the inside, because the way the scene is filmed is just beautiful. It's gorgeous cinematography, and there was just kind of the Christmas decorations on the inside and the warm firelight, and there was just kind of this gray haze of prettiness. And so Ask Me Properly and Snow Light were the two names I came up with for these. Now, when I sent them out, I sent them with silver ribbon and a stitch marker. And this, I ran out of the silver ribbon after I did some other things with it. But this is the stitch marker that I sent out with the club, and it definitely reminded me of a Christmas tree and the snow. And in the scene, there is a Christmas tree back in the background inside the castle and tons of snow outside, so it just all made sense and reminded me of that beautiful, beautiful scene. Probably, like I said, my favorite episode in the whole show. Yeah, I love that episode. Another cool thing about that one is my grandmother and my mom and I all watched that episode together, and my grandmother passed away that year, which was awful and horrible, but it's so special that we got to see what I think was the best part of the show, and we all kind of agreed that after season 2 it kind of just, season 3 was good, but especially after season 3 it just kind of, peters out a little bit. But my grandma loved the show, my mom and I did, and my last Downton Abbey memory with my grandma was watching this scene, because it's the final scene of that second season, and we had brownies and we were so excited that the season ended that way, and it's just a really special memory. So I thought for my first yarn club I wanted to go close to home and close to my heart, and it came out really well. So I'm excited, and I think I will do another Downton Abbey club in the future, but I'm not sure exactly when. So yeah, that is all I have dyed up recently, and I am going to update my shop a little later today, so there might be some goodies in there. But anyway, that's kind of my yarn dyeing segment for the week and what I've been up to in that way. And now I'm going to move on to a finished object. Haha! I am so excited. Now I'll say it's finished but not blocked, and the ends are not woven in, but it's finished-ish. And it is my Malabrigo Reina shawl. Now the edges are curled up. As I mentioned, it wasn't blocked. And I did a stretchy bind off because the lace is going to block nice and large. But this is what I've got. So I did this in one skein of Malabrigo worsted weight in the Cheese Bus colorway. And it's a free pattern on Ravelry. I can never say that word. It suggests, actually, it calls for fingering weight yarn and 3.5 millimeter needles, I think. But mine, I have done this shawl twice on 5 millimeters with worsted weight, and I like what it brings, or what it yields. So, anyway, I got to the end of the skein and was not ready to cast it off or bind it off, and so I went to a local yarn shop and I purchased a contrasting or coordinating color, and this is what it is. It's kind of a copper color, and I threw away the ball band, so I don't know what it was. I believe it's Shepherd's Wool was the brand, and this is how it goes. And I chose a copper, chose a copper color because it brings out the copper tones in the yarn, and I just love it. So I did wear it to work on Monday, even though it was not, and I have my ends tied together. Oh boy, if knitting purists could see me now. But I did wear it like this to work on Monday so that I could enjoy it, because I was so happy to have it off the needles, and it just feels so soft. And I love Malabrigo, and it was just so much fun. And so I just made sure that my ends were tucked away and hidden all day. And hopefully, before the weekend is over, hopefully I will get this blocked, because I really want the lace to show out more and it to grow as it will. So, yeah. I'm really pleased with it, and I'm super excited to have it off the needles. Look at the gorgeous colors in Malabrigo. Oh my word. I love their yarn so much. It's so soft. Really fun. Okay, so that was my only finished object this week. But I finished a lot of yarn, so that's something. Let's move on to works in progress. And let's see if I can combat the static. So, I will start with the one I already showed. This is my first pair of Christmas socks ever, actually. And it is the Hermione's Everyday Sock pattern. And it is on my vintage Christmas colorway that I just showed. and I'm really loving how it's knitting up. The beautiful Progress Keeper. I always want to call it a stitch marker, but technically this one's a Progress Keeper. And it's from Simply Serving Designs, Simply Serving on Etsy. And Lindsay, I love your work. She is so nice. I got to actually meet her. We got to hang out on a digital knit night. It was so much fun. So yeah, I ordered a stitch marker, a Progress Keeper, and she sent me this one too, which was so nice. It's a sweater I was admiring, and it happens to match this project so perfectly. So I decided these are going to be a gift from my mom. So I'm super excited to get these finished and shipped out to my mom, and I'm really excited for her to have these. So I am making quick progress. I'm doing these on 2.75 millimeter, 2.25 millimeter needles. ChowGoos. I am a ChowGoo girl all the way. They are my favorite needle, favorite cable. I love everything about them. Magic Loop, Hermione's Everyday Socks. So, with my little sweater. So, that's work in progress number 1. I'm really enjoying working on socks. I haven't been into socks for about a year, and now all of a sudden I can't wait to just keep knitting socks. So I guess that comes and goes, and I'm just embracing it, as it is definitely feeling like a sock season in my life. So the other work in progress that I've been slowly working on is my Flax Light sweater by Tin Can Knits. And I've shown this before on the podcast. I love this pattern. And I am using 2 of my colorways to knit with it. And the first one is, I'm at the very end of this ball of Glacier that is coming apart. And that is what the top part, the yoke, has been knit with up until now. So let me show that to you. I just got to a section where I'm starting to switch and blend colorways, so it's getting a little tangled as I pull it out of the bag. And let me fix that actually before I show it to you so that you can actually see the blended color section. I have not done any of the fading, like the Find Your Fade, the What the Fade, So Faded Sweater. I've wanted to do those, but I've always had another item that's similar on the needles, and so the timing just hasn't been right yet. But I don't have enough of these yarns to do the whole sweater, so I thought, oh, I can just kind of blend the colors into this Flax Light sweater as I will. So that's been kind of fun to play with that technique for the first time. And so now it is less tangled, it is ready to be shown. This is where I am with my Flax Light. So it has like a cool garter shoulder patch, and I have a tiny bit of laddering because I'm doing this on the Magic Loop technique. But I'm really liking it. So I'm getting close to the place where I'll need to divide for sleeves, but I am not there yet. And I'm really loving how the yarn is working up, and the pattern is really fun. So I can't wait to have this. I think this is honestly going to be probably February by the time. It's December 3rd, and I'm calling it. I think this is going to be a February finished object because it's just going to take me a while. I'm not the fastest knitter. I'm getting faster all the time, but this will probably take me a while. So, yeah. Now, the hard part is about 4 rows ago, I started blending the colors, but it's going to be hard to see because they're kind of similar. And I'll show you in the cake what it looks like. But I'm not at a place where you can really see the colors changing yet. What I will show you that you can see is the Progress Keeper that I ordered from Lindsay of Simply Serving, and it is a pumpkin iced sugar cookie. So cute! I love this one. This makes me smile every time I pass it, and every time I pass it, it makes me want to do another row and another row so I get to see it again because it just dresses up my knitting so nicely. So, thank you, Lindsay. So much fun. Yeah, Flax Light sweater. So hopefully next time I podcast, I will have enough done to where you can really, you can see it there a little bit, see the colors starting to blend and change and fade away into another color. But for now, I can show you what they're blending and fading into, which is my Siren Song colorway. So, yeah. So that's kind of where it's going. It's blue going to a darker blue. And I'm really enjoying this pattern. This is my first Tin Can Knits pattern, and I'm really loving it. It's super clear, it's very well written, and I'm just enjoying it a lot. And I am keeping this in the little progress bag, the project bag that I sewed for myself of some spare quarter of yard fabric that just reminds me of French country kind of a feel. So that is really it for works in progress. I am really sticking to the socks and the sweater now that my Reina shawl is done, and that's been a lot of fun. So I think that's well, I do have one more work in progress, and here he is. Ready? Ta-da! Besides those two projects, I wanted to have some more knit or crocheted ornaments on the tree this year because it's just fun and it was a goal. And so I love sheep, obviously, as a knitter, and I just think they're cute and they just remind me of lots of good things, and I wanted to have sheep on the tree. It seemed fitting. So this is a little body of a sheep that I have finished, and it's not perfectly cylindrical, and sheep are not perfectly cylindrical, so that's totally fine. He's a little bumpy, so I don't know if he'd win first prize in a sheep pageant, but here he is nonetheless. And this is just with a acrylic Aran weight yarn and just stuffed with some stuffing, and I'm gonna put a face on him, a little tail, and some feet, and hopefully he will be hanging from the tree soon. He has a little twin brother that is on the needles that is not looking very sheepy yet, so I won't show him. But other than that, that's all my works in progress. So hopefully you'll see those soon. You know what? Since we're here together by the tree, I could show you some of my past finished objects. Or FOOs, finished ornament objects. Haha. So I'll do that. And the elephant in the room, I didn't even mention, I am filming in a different room in the house today, and it just seemed fun to film by the Christmas tree at this time of year. So here we are. This is a little knitted ball I did last year. This was my first knit ornament ever. And I can't recommend the pattern. I mean, I would recommend it, but I can't remember where I even found it. It was just a YouTube tutorial, and I don't know which one it was. And I modified it to do this little design with a crochet hangy loop. I have a funny and sad story to share. You already probably saw it, about my snowflakes. I posted on Instagram the other day that I was actually finally hardening the crochet snowflakes that I made last year. They kind of hang limply off my tree last year because I just didn't get around to hardening them. And this year I was like, no, I'm gonna have actual stiff crochet snowflakes on the tree. And so I was so proud of myself. I mixed the glue in the water and I soaked them in the glue in the water, and then I was gonna pin them to something, and I don't have any foam blocking boards, and so I'm always trying to figure out what new things I can use to block things on. And I had a big shipment of yarn that had come in, so I thought, oh, I'll use that box. Well, that's great. They dried perfectly nice and stiff, but there was a side effect that I should have been able to foresee, but somehow I didn't, which is if you glue something that has a mixture of glue and water and you stick it to cardboard, it's probably going to stick to the cardboard. So my snowflakes on one side look so nice, and on the other I am still slowly but surely trying to pick off the cardboard that got glued to it without ripping the stitches out weirdly or loosening the stitches. So anyway, this really bothers me because I like things to look nice and neat and be all in their place. And Yes, this is not. But I've stuck them deeper into the tree and you can't really see. And I'm hopefully through the month I'm going to be able to rip those off and kind of perform some surgery on them. But that's one of them. Also, again, I did all different YouTube tutorials for these snowflakes. So these are all different and I can't tell you which ones they were because I don't remember. But they, you know, it's fun to I just had a good time last year looking up, you know, crochet snowflakes and seeing all the different patterns that came up. It was really, really fun just to do one and then watch the next tutorial and then crochet another one along. Because a lot of the tutorials were in live time, so I could just crochet along. And that was awesome. So here's another one that I did. And this is a big one. And it didn't harden as much as I wanted it to, but I really like it still. And of course, cause and effect. I'm still working on getting those off, but it's a pretty little pattern and I enjoy this one. So they're all a little different, which is kind of appropriate because, as they say, snowflakes are all unique and a little different. So that's another one. Here's another one. Whoops. And let's not have me pull down the whole tree on camera. Okay, this one is a little bit more dense and I really enjoy this one. They're all very similar, but just a little different. And of course, my paper on the back. So yeah, that was fun last year and this year to harden them and get them ready. So anyway, those are my finished ornaments from last year. I'm going to move on to sewing because I'm doing some sewing again. I'm so excited to show that I am actually going to I finally decided basically on a pattern for my blue Gretchen Hirsch fabric that I have shown multiple times on the podcast, and I love this fabric so much. It needs to be ironed before I cut it, but I had to show it to you. It's kind of a royal blue with little pink, like raspberry colored strawberries and little roses. Oh my goodness, just some of my favorite things. Just such a pretty fabric. And I am going to I'm going to sew it into this pattern, and I'm going to do the B version with short sleeves. So the A version has kind of a boat neck, and the B has a little bit more of a curve. It's not a deep curve, but it's a little bit more curved. So I thought that would just be a little bit more comfortable, and I'm going to do it with short sleeves. Now, this is for knit fabrics. I know. So why would I use a nice drapey rayon on a stretchy pattern? Not sure how it's going to turn out, but my plan is to put a zipper in the back. So it's a pretty fitted dress that is a pullover type of dress. I'm going to sew it as the pattern suggests, as is written, because there is, in my measurements and the size that I'm doing, there's about 2 inches of positive ease. So I think I might be able to use it as a pullover dress. However, if I can't, I'm just going to put a zipper in the back. Easy peasy, I think. And I'm excited. It's been a while since I've sewn, and I did wear my dress to school. And sorry, the light just got super dark on this side, and I'm realizing it just started snowing outside. The storm is here that they've been talking about, and here it is. So, pardon the light shifting. I'm super excited because even though it's winter, I love having flowy dresses to go over tank top and leggings and boots, because in cold weather I think that that's even more warm and comfortable than some pant, shirt, sweater combinations that I've worn. So I'm a big fan of dresses and skirts, and I'm super excited about that. So yeah, that's all the crafty content that I have for you this week. In other news, Thanksgiving was fun. My husband and I did not travel. All of our family is in California, and we have some friends out here that all of their family is in the Midwest. And so we all got together, and so it was fun. We had kind of a Friendsgiving, which was really cool. So we all kind of brought different things and just hung out. And there was a larger Friendsgiving gathering on Saturday, I think it was, and a bunch of us that don't have family nearby did that. And then on the actual Thanksgiving Day, we did the same thing kind of with just a small group. We just did that with one other couple, which was really, really fun. So she made a ham, so she did all the harder work. And I made salad and stuffing and dessert, and she did like potatoes and asparagus. And so we just combined each of our halves of, we each did half the cooking, and then we got together and had a great time. So that was really fun. And super cool, we got to Skype with some of our family, which we didn't expect to do on Thanksgiving night. And it was so fun. We have a little 1.5-year-old nephew who on the Skype call, kept coming over to my side of the screen and kissing my face on the screen, and he didn't kiss my husband at all. And so he would like run around, and then he would come back and get right in the camera, and then he would lean in and kiss me, and then he would run around, and my sister-in-law, his mom, actually got it on, got a picture of it, and it was so cute. So I got like 10 kisses that night from my nephew. So that really set my Thanksgiving over the top. That was great. And because of the time difference, we were able to still catch them for dessert, and we had some seconds on dessert when we got home. So that was really cool. Yeah, it's just been a really great couple of weeks, and I think that's pretty much all that I have to share at this point, but I hope to do lots more Christmas knitting. Hopefully get this dress ready for some Christmas events that are coming up and have a new dress to wear. I will be doing a shop, it's not like an official update, but I'm going to be adding some things to the shop today. I don't know if update is a term that's like, it has to be a certain amount of stuff going up. But anyway, there will be stuff added to my Etsy shop, which is KnitSongYarns, if you're interested. But yeah, I'm excited. It's been a good couple weeks, and so I'm glad to be able to sit by the tree and chat with you about what I've been crafting. I've been so enjoying all of the other podcasts that I normally follow. I've been just enjoying so much Meanwhile at the Castle and Girls in the Yarn Cafe. Getting to know those ladies personally has just been so awesome, and it's been great getting to know them and then having the podcast to be able to watch them. I've been watching all the Legacy Knits Vlogmas, and I'm trying to follow Homespun House Vlogmas and Inside Number 23, and I've been following, it's only 3 days in, but I'm trying to like stay up to date on them. Skein Deer Knits, and boy, what else? Yarngasm, and yeah, I've just been, while I've been cooking and sewing and whatnot, I've just had different Vlogmases on all day, which has been really fun. So anyway, that's kind of what I've been up to, and yeah, have a crafty, creative, enjoyable beginning to December, and yeah, I hope you have a great couple weeks. I hope to see you soon, and that's all for this week. Bye!